Hi, my name is Lucy Rodriguez Alvarez, and I just want to thank you so much for meeting with me today so we can discuss how can we reach your community, especially the Houston community, in a post-COVID world. Of course, when we see the post-COVID world, we're more talking about the post-COVID of its peak and going into what is going to be our new normal. So I want to thank you so much for meeting with me today, and we'll get started on our summary. Now, basically, we know that our summary, we've been going through a world pandemic, and the challenge to reach a new clientele and continue with business before the pandemic has posed a challenge. Usually when studying or taking some time to relax, Houstonians' first choice was always a coffee shop or anything that related to somewhere where they can go relax. But in a COVID world, most people are working remotely and no students are attending campus. So where are the sales? Where did they go? How can we get people to come back? The street life movement that generated sales automatically has decreased, and we have shifted from a natural sell intake to a need to get people out of their houses into the market. So how can we get people to get out of their homes to come downtown into your coffee shop? As a company, basically Famtasy Coffee Co. has hit every point for the specific Generation Z population wants to see. But what are those points exactly? And that, not knowing the points is where we hit a bar into knowing what the coffee shop stands for. They know about you, but what is it that you truly stand for, and can provide for them to not only go to the shop and get some regular coffee, but get an experience out of it with their friends, with the coffee shop itself. As diverse and tech savvy that the generation is, they don't really like ads. According to Tom Aldisol in the Advertising Creative, 68% of the Generation C avoid ads but love to watch vertical videos. And as somebody who's part of the Generation C, I can attest to that. YouTube videos are long gone. We usually just watch everything on a vertical screen. Based off of this information, our proposed purpose is to bring in social media presence on Instagram and TikTok, and specifically to these consumers, and appeal to what they like best. Going off of that, what we will see as our challenges with doing this, and what is our current challenge right now, is that the shop at its current state, and according to some interviews, has the right ethical background and stance. You know, they're not somebody who you're going to think about and be like, well, do they stand with what I believe in? Because that's what sales are going to now. The current post issue is that in a COVID-19 world, COVID-19 made a halt in the company's progression as a business. It came in where people were peaking at its time, and then COVID happened and Houston had to shut down. What better way to gain more exposure and persuade people to shop than social media exposure in our new vaccinated COVID era? So right now we're getting people out in starting to get vaccinated. So how can we get these people to come into the shop? Our basic objective and our goal with Famtasy Coffee Co. is to regain Houston following that it already had, but let's get it moving a little bit on social media that can lead to an increase in sales. Now, based on some research of what Famtasy Coffee Co. serves, the conclusion is that who their target audience is came to be Houstonians based on location, and of course Generation C population due to its progressive diversity and ethics. So based off what Famtasy Coffee Co. is, you attract Houstonians based on location, and this Generation Z that cares very much about where you stand in diversity and ethics. Furthermore, Houstonians are also surrounding college students who are looking for a space to hang out or even study. When you have these students being in just homes and studying, you get the lack of wanting to study and the lack of feeling like you can't study in your own setting. On our primary research that done through a set of interviews with a coffee shop enthusiasts and some college students, attested to the audience being Houstonians and college students. Furthermore, we can see on the featured benefit, the features and the benefits we have that you can target this audience with being environmentally friendly. And the benefit to Gen Z is that it feeds the Gen Z population who is the most conscious of the environment. This population usually and more than likely always thinks about what they can do and what are they doing with what they're purchasing that can be helpful to the environment. You also have vegan options, so it doesn't leave the vegan community out and they won't feel neglected. For the LGBTQ space, as an LGBTQ couple yourself, you have the consumer feels that they have a safe space and they feel the inclusiveness of a coffee shop. You also have a student discount, which attesting to the college students, UHD students, among others, tend to save money with these discounts while adding on to the sales. And then on the side of private meeting rooms, you get people to reserve these private rooms and have either a socially distanced area for themselves that if that's what they want, they could take that. And you also have a place for people to hold personal events like birthdays or dinner celebrations that they would want to do. What is our strategic message and what can we do about it? Now, Famtasy Coffee Co. is a Houstonian shop built for the people and by the people to experience more than just a coffee shop. So this is completely different than other competitors where you just walk in, it's a regular coffee, yes, you have the dim lights and music, but what else can you get out of it? Transmitting your shop's benefits to the public through social media will increase a following, therefore an increase in sales. How can we do this and what can we do and what is our creative strategy? Basically, it will be centered around social media engagement plan. We'll be starting with building a community in your social medias. So what can we do? We can start off with influencer marketing and social sponsorship. And if you basically see the trending research is when you go to TikTok or Instagram, you always have influencers being the top ones that get to boost these coffee shops up in the Houston area. So what we can do is contact local influencers to check out the shop, especially influencers who are food vloggers, and get them to write a review and a video of going to the shop. We can also focus on your personal story of being this LGBT community couple from Houston. You are very Houston native. We need to get that story out there. People need to know so that they feel that they know a face to the shop. We can also showcase a story of the day, basically on our Instagram and Facebook stories, and making sure that your face is on there so that they can see and they feel a personal belonging with you. We can also interact with followers with polls, questions, and Q&As. We need a constant posting of content, starting with Instagram at 9 a.m., Facebook at 11 a.m., and TikTok and Twitter. Of course, we see the times. Now, we need to have a weekly postings, minimum of 5 per week on Instagram, 4 per week on Facebook, 8 on TikTok, and 15 per week on Twitter. Now, this is a basic rule and a basic social media engagement plan to get people to come and to interact with your social media, therefore interacting with you as a company. Now, here are my references if you have any other questions with the plan. And I just want to thank you so much for meeting with me and being able to have this conversation on whether or not we will be able to move forward with this social media engagement plan. My hopes is to get your story out there and reach these Houstonians, so that they feel that they're having more of an experience than just going to a coffee shop and getting some coffee. So I just want to thank you so much, and I hope we can meet up next time. Let me know if you have any questions.